Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's Dynamic 365 Tech Talk. Today's topic is what's new in the October 2022 release for tax calculation service. My name is David, and I'll be your moderator today. We're broadcasting this session through Teams live events, and the audio can be heard through your device speakers. This session is being recorded on behalf of the Microsoft Corporation. When you join this event, your name, email address, and/or phone number may be viewable by other session participants in the attendee list. By joining, you're agreeing to this experience. The recording will be available on the Tech Talks Community Dynamics page within the coming weeks. If you have questions for the presenters or need support, please use the Q&A panel located at the right side of our screen. Our presenters will be responding to your questions in a live Q&A at the end of the presentation. Thank you for your patience during these announcements. Presenting for us today from Microsoft, we have Kai Liang, Senior Program Manager, and Eric Wong, Principal Program Manager. Kai, over to you.
Thank you, David. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Tech Talk on tax calculation. For today's agenda, let me first do a quick recap on the overview of the tax calculation service. Then I will talk about what's new in the October 2022 release and proceed with the demo for a bit more details of the mentioned new functions. We'll, of course, spare some time for Q&A at the end of the session. Tax calculation service was launched GA in September last year. It is a standalone microservice built on the top of the Microsoft Azure platform. It focuses on the tax determination and calculation part in the full life cycle of tax management. Benefiting from the microservice architecture, tax calculation service is more scalable and extendable. It is already integrated to multiple applications in Dynamics family, such as Dynamics 365 Finance and supply chain management. And there are more applications on our roadmap, so please stay tuned. The business value of the tax calculation service is that it fully automates and standardizes your tax determination and calculation processes across countries and regions. It's a powerful tax engine which automatically determines the correct tax rate or rates for your sales, purchase, and or even journal transactions. In addition, tax calculation service is on a centralized, configurable low-code, no-code platform where you can design and define your own tax condition, your tax applicability rules, and even your own tax calculation formula without technical code development. We believe tax calculation service will simplify your work and reduce your customization cost on the compliance maintenance for your business to meet the local tax regulations. Well, we'd like to further remark that tax calculation service is fully backward compatible with the existing tax engine in Dynamics Finance. You may choose to enable the service only in the legal entities and for the business processes which have complex tax scenarios that cannot be well covered by the existing tax engine. Scenarios like transfer price model and limited risk distributor, consignment warehouses with multiple VAT registrations, EU triangulation transactions, EU VAT on margin, EU distance selling, US origin-based and destination-based sales tax, and tax deductibility by the usage of the goods and services. Yeah, these scenarios can be well supported by the tax calculation service. You may visit the link here, aka.ms/tax calculation, for more details about the capability and how-to of the tax calculation service. Yeah. So next, I'd like to share the coverage of the tax calculation service, which has been extended significantly since last year. So here it is now integrated with further transactions like free text invoice and the general transactions in Dynamics Finance. For the Azure data center geographic availability, it extends to the following 6 countries and regions. And for the legal entities in the Dynamics Finance, in addition to the current 19 country regions, the localization of the following 20 countries regions are adapted with the tax calculation service. So you can enable the service in these legal entities as well now. Yeah. And for the multiple VAT ID reporting, Belgium, Denmark, Finland, and Poland will be supported, which means in total 13 countries regions tax reporting can be supported by the multiple VAT ID out of box. Okay, so let's now walk through the new functionalities which shall be available in the October 2022 release. Okay. Many thanks to our pilot customers. We have collected valuable suggestions and feedback on the functionalities and usability of the service. So here are the features that bring additional capabilities to solve scenarios which cannot be well covered by the previous solutions. The first one is the cash discount parameter feature. This feature allows the user to define tax jurisdiction for each transaction and then set the cash discount parameter differently for each jurisdiction so that the service can calculate the cash discount following different tax regulation of different countries within the same legal entity. The second one is the weight and adjust execution sequence. So this feature makes the weight and the execution sequence of the applicability rules visible to the user. So the user can now adjust the execution sequence of the rules which were equally weighted. Then the third one is the tax data model. We extended with new fields for tax registration of the customers and the vendors. It provides more capability and flexibility to the user in designing the applicability rules. The last one is the override sales tax feature. With this feature, the user gets the ability now to manually select the sales tax group and item sales tax group in the transaction. And it will override the ones that are determined by the service. It gives a straightforward way to force and correct things. So next, while introducing more capabilities to the service, we also are aware of the needs to provide a better user experience to our key users for a quick hands-on and a smooth configuration experience by the tax calculation service. Here are the features we'd like to highlight. So the first one is the demo feature. So a demo text feature is now available out of box in RCS, which can be imported to the legal entity DEMF directly as part of its demo data right after you activating the tax calculation service. So you can quickly explore the capabilities of the service, and also you get a template for your own text feature. Yeah. And second is the new UI for the text feature workspace. With the new UI, the related configurations are now grouped together in the same Fast tab. The user can be more focused on the configuration by only expanding the Fast tabs that are relevant to their scenarios and hide the other complexities behind. Yeah. And finally, we have enabled the import and export functionality for both tax codes and applicability rules. So the user can now easily use Excel for a massive tax codes and applicability rules maintenance. Now, that's pretty much for the new features briefing. And let's jump to the demo part for more details. Yeah, I have the demo recorded in advance just to avoid any network disruption. So here we go.
Let's start with the demo feature and explore it with the new UI. The demo feature has the initial text codes and groups from the demo legal entity DEMF and is available now out of box in your RCS. You may view the configuration of this feature in tax calculation workspace directly to get an initial idea of how to set up the tax calculation feature. In practice, you can create your own feature based on the demo feature so that you won't be bothered by the basic settings as they are already inherited from the demo feature. Let's create one feature based on the demo feature here by clicking Add, select based on existing feature, click name, find the tax calculation demo feature, set it as your base feature, click Create Feature. Once created, we select Edit to get into the feature version workspace. As you can see, the workspace is refreshed to a set of new tabs and fast tabs to reorganize the tax and applicability rule tables in a more compact manner. On the right up corner, the new status bar shows the number of the tax codes and tax groups, item tax groups that are available in the current feature version. Now expand the tax codes and the groups fast tab. You may find the tax codes and the tax groups from DEMF are already there. These are inherited from the demo feature. And then expand the applicability rules fast tab. You may find two basic domestic sales applicability rules are defined for Germany and the Netherlands based on the ship from country region and ship to country region. Next, let's check the new import and export functionality. We understand there can be hundreds and thousands of tax codes defined in an organization. The import and the export functionality can be critical for the maintenance of such feature version. Here, I will export the existing text codes and then use the exported file as a template for text codes import. As you can see, a zip file will be downloaded in the browser. I'll show it in the folder and extract all. We get 3 CSV files for the definition of text code, text rate, and the text limit. Open the text code CSV in Excel. Here, I want to add 3 new text code, VAT8 to VAT10. So in the Excel, I can do it easily. Save it. And open the text rate CSV file. And I can add these text codes accordingly. And update the rate here. And save. Now, because I don't have the text limit defined for any of these text codes, I can leave it empty. So I have saved both CSV files. Now I can compress them to a zip file. Let's import them back to the text feature version. I click Import, find the zip file. Select OK. Here we can see the text codes has been imported. Well, for applicability rules, the import and export mechanism is a bit different. Let's start with exporting the rules. Select all rules, then on the right-up corner, find the Microsoft Office button, select Text Service Dynamic Applicability Matrix to download these rules in an Excel. Open the downloaded file, and we can see both rules have been downloaded within the Excel spreadsheet. Enable editing. Now let's add 2 domestic purchase rules in the spreadsheet. Once done, select both rules and click Copy. Now go back to the applicability table. Add a new line. Add an empty line and click Ctrl V to paste back both rules in the table. Click Save, and we are done with the import and export part. Next, let's look at the extended text data model. Click Manage Columns. You can find 4 new columns for customer or vendor tax registrations are available here. Let's add vendor tax registration country region and the vendor tax registration number to the table in this demo. Click OK. The value of the tax registration number can be either from the tax exempt number field in the vendor customer master data, or in a multiple VAT ID scenario, you can leverage the customer tax registration number applicability or vendor tax registration number applicability tables to create cascaded rules. Like here, in the vendor tax registration number applicability, let me pick ship to address, ship to country, and the vendor account. Ship to vendor account. And add a rule, say for vendor DE-001, and if its ship to is Netherlands, we know the vendor will use NL12345 as their VAT ID, and the country of the tax registration is NLD. Save. Now, in the tax group applicability table, add one more rule, say for a purchase transaction, the tax registration country is NLD, and the number is NL12345. We want to pick APEU for this transaction. It means if we purchase something from vendor DE001 and the ship address is Netherlands, the vendor VAT ID should be NL12345. And for such transaction, we want to apply the tax group APEU. Now I want to make sure that the new rule is applied in front of other purchase rules. I can leverage the new adjust execution sequence function to do so. Click adjust execution sequence. Here we can observe the weight of the applicability rules. There can be cases where a transaction meets the conditions of multiple applicability rules. So the service will pick the higher weighted rule and ignore the others. When the rule, like here, have all the same weight, we can adjust the execution sequence by move up the rule that should be executed first. Here, let me move up the rule to at least the top of the purchase transactions. Select complete to save my change. So you can see the rule goes to the top of all the purchase rules. Next, let's explore the tax jurisdiction group tab. This section is introduced to resolve the different cash discount calculation logic among different countries. Since we are handling taxable transactions for a legal entity with multiple VAT ID registrations across Europe, it means parameters like cash discount calculation parameters shall also be determined by the tax jurisdiction per transaction. So here, following the same concept as textbook, we can define tax jurisdiction applicability tables. Pick out the business process and, for instance, the shipped from country region. Say if it's a sales transaction and the shipped from country region is Germany, it's a DE jurisdiction. And add another line for Netherlands. D and L. So in the next tab, I can define here for jurisdiction DE, I'll calculate cash discount including sales tax, and I'll reverse the sales tax when the cash discount is actually granted. Then for tax jurisdiction NL, I'll simply calculate cash discount excluding sales tax. In addition, I can specify the default parameters that shall be used for transactions that haven't been defined with a rule here. Say, excluding the sales tax for all other conditions that are not specified below. Okay, we have explored all the new functions here in RCS and have completed our tax feature version setup. Let's save and publish our feature version to the global repo. Now let's go to an FNO to import our tax feature. So in DEMF, in tax calculation parameters, enable the tax calculation service. And find our feature setup name. For the new tax codes which have just been defined in our tax feature, complete the settlement period and ledger posting group setup. They will be then synchronized to DEMF. Okay. We have now imported our demo feature setup for legal entity DEMF. Now, let's create a purchase order and check if our cascaded rule can be effective. But first, don't forget to maintain the tax registration number for your legal entity, DEMF. So here, and you should assign the registration number to the related tax authority and the settlement period. And you should also have maintained the NL 12345 as the Netherlands tax registration number for vendor DE001. Okay, now let's create the purchase order. Select DE001, select the NLD warehouse, and other item. So as the tax calculation service is enabled for purchase transactions, the sales tax group and the item sales tax group fields are read-only in purchase order now. Click on sales tax. We can find the vendor tax registration number is NL12345 as expected. And the tax code is also correctly determined from the tax group APEU. Last but not least, you would notice the override sales tax option here. This new function gives us the flexibility to manually pick the sales tax group and the item sales tax group, and they will override the rules defined in the tax calculation service. So let's change the sales tax group to AP DOM and click sales tax. As you can see, the tax code is now changed to Inc. VAT 19.
Okay, that's all for today's demo. Thank you. I think Eric is checking the questions from audience, and we shall be able to answer the questions now.
Yeah, thank you, Kai. We see quite many questions coming. Let me answer one. Try to finish all them in this session. So for the first question, what's the roadmap for integration with D365 customer engagement? So let me give a holistic view of our integration plan of tax calculation service. So as you can see in the presentation, currently we integrate with D365 Finance and the supply chain management. And our short-term plan is we want to have the same coverage as the existing tax engine in D365 Finance, which the only left application is project operation. So our short-term plan is we will integrate with project operation for transactions like project invoice proposal, project invoice, and the project journal, hours, fees, expense, and item. And our long-term plan is after the integration completion with the finance and operation and applications, we will extend it to more D365 applications like D365 Commerce and D365 customers engagement. So this is our plan. But for short-term, project operation is our next target. Okay. The second question is, will this new tax calculation service automatically update the tax rates for tax authorities if they change their tax rates? So as you can see in this demo, so far in tax calculation service, we provide a much more powerful tax engine comparing to the existing tax engine in FL, but we don't provide tax rates or tax determination rules out of the box. Users still have to maintain those rates and the determination rules by themselves. We understand this works for countries with simple tax jurisdiction and the rates, as I know for most of the European Union-based European Union countries. And we do also understand, for example, for countries have very complex tax jurisdiction like US, right? Usually, it requires some tax rate provider to provide this information, this kind of data up to and updated automatically by those providers. So far we don't have this function, but we do have an idea opened in idea portal and the tax category. You can vote in that idea if you want Microsoft to further explore this option. I will paste the link in the published window later about this link, or you can visit idea portal and the text category. It's on the top 3 as I remember. Now you can vote on that idea as well. The third question is, could you explain further what the granular enablement does at the business process level mean? So for business process, we have 5 values there so far: sales, purchase, free tax invoice, journal, and inventory. So for sales, it covers all the sales transaction like sales quotation, sales order, packing slip, and sales invoice. And for purchase, it covers purchase requisition, purchase order, product receipt, vendor invoice. And for journal, it covers journal, vendor invoice journal, and prepayment journal. And for free tax invoice, it's simple one transaction in the system. And for inventory, it means transfer order. So this granularity means you can enable tax calculation service, for example, by sales transaction only, and you can still use the existing tax engine for rest of the transaction. We provide this flexibility in tax calculation service. And the next question is, I presume the API request from finance does not rely on the batch framework and it's instantaneous. Yeah, this is correct. So as you can see in the demo, it's a real-time API call from finance to our microservice platform, and all the text determination and the calculation result are returned back to FL. Next question is this tax calculation engine also available for POS in US to be used with sales transactions, returns, and customer orders? So I think I covered this in the first question. Our roadmap is we will integrate with project operation first, and the next should be commerce and other D365 applications. I believe this question you mean if we can integrate with D365 commerce for the POS. This is on the roadmap. And next question is, will the full capabilities of the tax calculation feature also be available in the trial environments? So currently we have a requirement of the FL environment. ABA, which is a tier 2 environment, is a must. So this is related to the LCS add-in installments. You can only see add-in function, which there are many add-ins there like tax calculation, electronic invoicing, inventory visibility, and other features. You can only see that function if you have a tier 2 or above environment. So for trial environments, I'm not quite sure which tier it is, but if it's tier 2, it's okay. But if it's only tier 1, it's still not supported as of now. Next question is, can we personalize the new UI as any other form in FL? So far, personalization is not supported in the new UI, but if user just want to add more conditions in the text determination matrix to build their own rules, this is already supported. You can see in the demo, there's a button called Manage Columns there. So you can click that button to add other fields in our standard text data model to build your own rules. But to add other fields into the UI, it's not supported so far. Okay, next question is it available for all countries or only specific? So for tax calculation service, it's available for majority of the countries. let me explain in this way. So for Microsoft, we supported 44 countries out of the box with localization feature, right? For this 44, tax calculation service support 41 of them. Only Russia, India, and Brazil are not supported. For these three countries, they should still use the Cortex engine and use our Indian GST solution. Reason behind this is we have very heavy localization in these three countries. And so far, we see for our localization, so because we already built a lot of function in these three countries, it works well for our customers. So we don't see needs. We should extend tax calculation service for these three countries in short term. For rest of countries, we do see gaps, so we release tax calculation service to support the complex tax scenarios. And the second part is for other countries, right? Microsoft does not support out of the box for localization. You can still enable tax calculation service. As you know, for those countries, it shares we call the core features, right? Just like all other countries. So you can enable it and use core tax features. Next question is, will we have an own entity and the open Excel functionality available for updating tax codes, rates, modifying them in CSV and compressing them as a zip file and then import back is not very user friendly. Yeah, I understand this one. And so far the import function as Kai showed in the demo, we should import it through CSV file, but we are investigating the solution which will align with the data entity solution as other data import function in FL, right? We will disclose more about our progress in our plan. Next question is, would RCS interact as intermediary with the tax authority in the US states? This is for update tax rates, commodity codes, or is it expected for the customer to keep the information? So I think this question is answered in one of the previous questions. So far, the tax rates and the determination rules should be maintained by user themselves, but you can vote in our idea and to let us prioritize this ask. Next question is, when you create a new tax codes, how do you put them to the ledger posting groups? Manual or do you have any export import as well? So for tax caption service, our product position of this microservice is focused on tax determination and calculation. So you can see in RCS all the parameters that are related to tax calculation. For ledger posting, we will automatically synchronize the tax codes from RCS to FL. You can update the ledger posting groups and other fields from post settlement period in FL. This tax code will be automatically synchronized to the tax codes form. You can still update it there, just like the legacy tax engine feature. Second question, I think from the same audience. I know the scope of the presentation is the tax calculation. What about tax payments to authorities? So I'm not quite sure if here you mean that, for example, tax declaration reports or other features. For tax declaration, you can visit our website. We already provide many localization features in some countries, and you can run those reports. And some even have the direct integration with the tax authorities. And if you have any other thoughts how we should enhance the tax payments and in this function area, you can also raise idea in our idea portal and let. Next question, where do I find the feature in RCS to load tax demo data? So I think in Kai's demo, you can revisit the recording in next week, and there is an import menu in the globalization feature form. So you can click that import menu, and you can see a demo tax feature, demo data, the name like this, and then you can import it directly. And the next is, when this tax calculation service is enabled, it replaces the core tax calculation engine in D35 FNO, or it simple brings additional features. So technically, it replaces the core tax engine. It's just from functional design perspective, we keep the backward compatibility with the existing tax calculation functions in the core tax engine. So technically, it replaces it. It will call the microservice instead of running the runtime in FNO infrastructure. Okay. Next question is the idea that the customer should manage the feature by themselves after go live? I mean, if they need to add, delete, or modify in RCS. Yeah, this is correct. As you can see, we put all the configurations in a package, which we call text feature. So before go live, I believe consultant and partner will create it and test it. But after go live, can transfer it to your customer to maintain it if there's any tax rate change in the list tax jurisdiction or any determination rules change in this jurisdiction. How this service works with Commerce module, there are text-related tables that are synchronized with the posts. So I think this question is also on so far. For the Commerce, they have their own text engine and it does not use our existing text engine, which is core text engine. And the text calculation service has no impact and or no side effect on Commerce part, but it's on our road to it with Commerce later to provide all the features on top of the existing text engine. Our question is any additional license cost for this feature? So the answer is no. This feature is already included in the D365 finance license. So as long as you have the finance license, you can use it without any additional cost. And the ability, or I think this is not a question, but a comment, the ability to set up tax applicability rules based on the VAT registration number is nice. Many thanks for that. Okay. As there is only one RCS environment, how does one separate user access and the setup between production and the test system? So as you can see, we ask a user to assign text feature back to FL at the legal entity level. So in RCS, you can create one text feature for production and another text feature, even a different version under one text feature. And you can assign different versions to different environment. And after your fully validation in the test environment for a specific version, then you can assign that version to your FL production environment. And the next question, yeah, for Commerce, okay. Will this service be included as part of the standard D365 license or come at further subscription cost? I think this is answered as well. It's part of the finance license. You don't have any additional cost to use it. And the next question is, any plans of having sales task group description available in TCS rather than just a sales task group? This is a good one, and we will keep it in our backlog, and we will announce which release it can be delivered in our what's new. You can monitor what's new in 365 Finance for each release. We have a public document there. So yes. Where can I get the support of TCS? I think this is just the normal process as all the rest of the features in D365 Finance. You can contact Microsoft support, raise service ticket to us to ask any questions. And we also have a Yammer group. You can search tax calculation service in Yammer. We have some regular communications, and I also see very active partner conversation in the group. You can raise your question there, and either a Microsoft product team or our communities, they will answer your question when they answer, I believe. Any plans to align the string length between sales task group in TCS and the D365 FL? So currently there's a length limitation in FL, right? Only 10 characters are allowed for sales task group and actually as item sales task group as well. So in TCS, we have the same limitation, but in TCS, our concept is it's based on a configurable, fully configurable feature and text data model. So actually, technically, it doesn't know this sales task group or what's the business meaning FL. So you may see there's no validation when you sales task group name in it, but when it's synchronized back to FL, there's the validation there. So anyway, we recommend to use less than 10 characters in sales task group name and item sales task group. Any plans of having a lookup showing sales tax code description when setting up sales tax group? Yeah, this is also a good feedback. We will keep it in our backlog and to see when we can deliver this for our. I cannot click. So, for sales tax code, do you still have to set the country region type manually in FO in the report setup fast type? Yeah, this is correct. As I mentioned, for tax calculation service, it currently focuses on the calculation parameter. So for all the reporting or posting or settlement related parameters, it's still set up in FO. When will the feature be released to the current environments? Actually, all the 7 feature enhancement Kai introduced in the demo, they are already released and they're releasing different versions, but for 10.0.29, this is the last version of 2022 Wave 2, so all the features will be available in 10.0.29. So RCS will populate the standard text table configuration so text can be passed to commerce. Yeah, so this again for commerce integration, this is on the roadmap, but so far the solution is still under discussion. We will discuss more how the integration with commerce will work. Okay. Text calculation service use an ISV such as Vertex. Do you see the text calculation service replace the need of a text ISV? With the text calculation service, how are tax rates being maintained by who? So again, as you can see in the demo, for tax calculation service, we don't maintain the rate by ourselves. We require by Microsoft, we require the user to maintain it. So for ISVs like Vertex or other players in the market, I don't think tax calculation service is a replacement. It's rather an opportunity for collaboration, although there's nothing done at this moment. But for example, you can still vote in our idea and the tax category for the idea of external tax rate providers integration. And does tax calculation service permit the all-inclusive GST like Australia, where tax is included in the sales price? Yeah, this is supported. Actually, it's the same as the existing tax engine. We allow the amount to include sales tax and the amount exclude sales tax calculation. You can mark this flag on the sales order header, and we will calculate accordingly. Is tax feature setup shared across legal entities? Yeah, this is correct. As you can see, if there are many legal entities in your FL and they all share the same tax rate and the tax determination rules, you can only create one tax feature in RCS and assign this tax feature to multiple legal entities in FL. Will there be an option to specify the tax code attributes, use tax, tax-free by VAT group, or does it still need to be done in Digitalized Finance? So this is to be done in RCS because it's tax calculation related, and we move it to tax code level. In FL existing tax engine, it's at sales tax group level. But in RCS, as you can see the demo, for each tax code, you can mark it as, for example, use tax or reverse charge or tax-free, and we will calculate tax amount accordingly. For partner purpose, can we connect to RCS service and begin to test this for partner sandbox environment? So again, if you already have a tier 2 or above environment, you can already test it. There's no limitation for customer or for partner. For sales tax code, do you still have to set the country region type manually? Okay. Any plans of having a lookup showing sales tax group? Dupe. What about sub-T reporting and other related tax reporting required in certain European countries? So you can visit our website, Microsoft Doc, or the short name URL Kai introduced ak.ms tax calculation. You can see there's a section, multiple tax ID reporting. You can see there are around more than 10 countries listed there. These countries are supported for the EU sales list, intrastate, and other VAT declaration report to be read in one single legal notice. For the countries not listed there, it's not supported so far, but we will disclose which countries will be supported later in our roadmap plan. Is there any plan to enable integration for projects, or is it available? It's not available now, but it's in our short-term plan to integrate with project operations. Okay, commerce is fed by tax confusion dynamics. Yeah, I know the mass data is synchronized between commerce and the tax calculation service, but so far we don't have visual integration between tax calculation service and Okay, I think that's the questions. So if no more question, I will hand over the session back to David.
All right, thank you very much, Eric. I've posted a link to a short survey in the Q&A panel. We'd like your feedback on today's session and hear what you'd like to see in future events. Thank you for your participation. As a reminder, the recording of today's session will be available on the Tech Talks Community Dynamics page within the coming weeks. I'd like to extend a big thank you to our presenters and audience for joining us today.